Over here and see who this is. Do you think this is very helpful at APAC convention to put this sign up?
We're at a point. We're at a historical tipping point, buddy.
Yeah?
We got to tell it like it is.
Okay. So you think Trump is a Nazi? You think this gets your message? You do? You do? Okay.
He's Nazi.
Yeah.
He has violence at his
You
rallies.
compare him to the Hitler of 1929. You compare him to the Mussolini of 1920.
You don't think that's an overstatement?
No, not in. I'm a historian. I know what I'm talking about. There are multiple points.
And you're Webster Tarpley, right?
Webster Tarpley, that's it.
We've got Webster Tarpley here.
That's right.
Webster Tarpley thinks that Donald Trump is a Nazi.
Absolutely a Nazi. And
You wanna back that up beyond Goodwin?
I'm appalled to see libertarians who are supposed to be the opposite of authoritarian, totalitarian, all trooping like lemmings into this Trump conveyance. Let's talk about some stuff.
People who called themselves libertarians never would have supported Donald Trump.
Well,
Over the last,
do you think,
at least from my experience, okay?
do you understand what's going on with globalism? Do you see the open borders and the multinational
I used to work with the libertarians, and the libertarians I used to work with never, ever would have endorsed Donald Trump. Okay. I'm not working with the libertarians anymore,
So who do you work with?
Webster.
Okay.
Yes.
Webster
Now, why
is
is
a
he a
program.
Nazi?
Yes.
Why is he a Nazi? 12 million deportations. That's a police state right away. That's the knock on the door in the middle of the night. Women and children dragged out of the door.
Do we have? What if somebody comes into your home and doesn't leave? Do you call the police? Do you call the police with that? That's not my libertarian word game. I'm quoting a Cuban mayor from Florida. He says to his wife,
is supposed to be against a police state. Get ready to see the biggest police state that you've ever seen. 12 million deportations means holding cells made out of stadiums, cattle cars out of this country. I don't know what you guys. This is what.
well, they could always go home, couldn't they?
Look,
You're
let's
forcefully
live in the
deporting
real world, huh? Stop with the
I do live in the real world.
Zero tolerance for your word games. 12 million
It's not a word game.
deportations.
If people come here illegally,
Forget illegal. The whole country is illegal. The government is based on assassinations. You know this better than anybody. Why start with the most defenseless people? Because they're being scapegoated, a la Hitler. Hitler says, there's a depression. Who's responsible for the depression? Is it the Wall Street bankers? No, says Donald Trump. It's those wetbacks.
well, I think he has blamed it on the Wall Street bankers and NAFTA and TPP.
He is not lifting a finger against them.
Trump wants
Well,
to
he hasn't
increase
done anything because he's not president yet, but he's talked about TPP.
What he's done is lie and flip-flop and flip-flop. Just about anything he says, you can't believe. Here's what we do know. He wants riots. If he doesn't get the nomination given to him on a silver platter, he wants to have riots. Now, you know.
I think that's a mischaracterization. You're talking about playing word games. That's a mischaracterization.
Convention?
Yes.
If you don't get the absolute majority on the first ballot, you go to the second ballot, and the third, and the fourth. And what he's saying is, no, 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 no. The whole course of American history is not good enough for His Highness Donald Trump. He says, I want the nomination after the first ballot, even if I don't get the absolute majority. So a minority candidate is going to get the nomination. Ridiculous.
Let me ask you, have you ever seen a situation where you got the RNC chair and the delegate saying, we're going to hand it to somebody who didn't even run?
I don't. Well, I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, don't get me wrong.
I think that's what he was talking
I'm not
about.
a Republican. I have never stooped so low and so much degradation to be a Republican. I'm not going to do it. Let's get back to it, though. He says riots. And then he says over the weekend in Arizona, Second Amendment. He's going to win big with the Second Amendment. So we take riots and Second Amendment. I think it's got to do with guns. Am I right? And put that together. So he's talking armed riots.
I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think what he's saying is that people would riot if the RNC puts in somebody that hasn't even participated in the process. Somebody like Romney or somebody like Paul Ryan.
Some studies of fascist blackmail and fascist innuendo, and you'll get the idea. He wants to abolish the First Amendment. He says he wants to expand the libel laws so that he can sue people and get lots of money if they dare to insult him. He says that wages
against the First Amendment. Is InfoWars
No.
has always said that they were against the NSA and the police state.
Absolutely. Look.
Donald Trump
Wait a minute.
not said
Yeah.
that he wants to increase the surveillance state? Has he not said that?
Yes, he has. And we have also
And
said we oppose him on
How
that.
can you guys sell out to
Yeah, but
that?
you're
How
That's
can you
not-
sell out?
shilling for him.
InfoWars
You're
is
shilling for
selling
him
out,
at every
shilling
turn.
for him.
Come on.
No.
Look,
it's not.
You're being conned.
Do you
You're
understand?
being conned.
Do you understand what's going on with TPP, with TTIP? Do you understand
Yeah,
that's the critical path for globalism?
Listen,
Do you understand that?
We want
okay.
a 15% protective tariff.
Yeah.
The Tax Wall Street Party demands a 15% protective tariff.
Well, he wants a higher protective
No,
tariff.
he wants to use
He
it
wants
as a
to
weapon.
use that as a
He
threat,
wants to use
but
it as a
not
weapon
really
to
have it.
hold in business negotiations, so he can say there's Nabisco and Kraft. And there's
Yeah, but I think you're arguing semantics. I don't think you're giving him credit for the thing that the Republicans are criticizing him for is protectionism, and he's with you on that issue.
To create his own monopolies. You're being conned.
So your party is what?
Tax Wall Street Party.
On the
Couple of
businesses
other
he doesn't
points.
want.
Trump says
And
wages are too high. Wages are too high? That the minimum wage is a bad thing? Are we nuts? Then he also says he's willing to tolerate unions, but he doesn't want them to expand.
Don't be a dupe for Trump.
He doesn't. He's willing to tolerate them where they exist, but otherwise he's going to use the Taft-Hartley Slave Labor Act and prevent people from creating unions. So his tax reform, it goes down. The top rate goes down from 40 to 25%. Is a bonanza for the top 1/10%.
Did you agree with or oppose the Reagan tax cuts?
Huh?
Do you agree with the Reagan tax? Because he lowered tax.
Disaster. They were a disaster because.
Okay, then we have a disagreement on that.
Here's what he did. He ballooned the deficit, and then he turned around and raised the Social Security payroll tax to take that out of the hide of wage earners. So what he did was a massive redistribution of wealth from the middle and the lower to the upper. That's Reagan in a nutshell. Complete fraud.
Yeah, I agree that lowering taxes and increasing spending was a formula for disaster. I think that I'm on the side of lowering taxes, though. And you disagree. Yeah, but you disagree with lowering the taxes.
The anti-establishment. When did you guys become such acolytes for Reagan?
Yeah, you guys are just normal Republicans. You're right-wing Republicans.
INFOWARS selling out.
It's very okay. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, we're sellouts. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Here we go. This is Donald Trump as a fascist, and you just heard Webster Tarpley. And of course, anybody that's listened to me knows that I'm not a Reagan fan. I think that there's many things that Reagan did wrong. Lowering the income tax was about the only thing he did right, but of course Webster doesn't like that. Webster says that we can't trust Donald Trump because he wants to raise tariffs perhaps as much as 45% when he would go 15%. So there you go. If he triples, he can't do anything right. And look, I'm not going to apologize for what Donald Trump has said about civil liberties. I think he's absolutely wrong on those issues, and we can have a fight about that. I would rather have a fight with him on civil liberties than to have a fight with somebody like Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or especially Ted Cruz, who says he's for civil liberties and then comes in the back door and picks your pocket on it because he's lying to you. At least have a person who's going to come at you and say, I'm going to do this. That'll get people fired up, I think.